Hey, yo, this is Dillio coming to you another video. This is another independent artist empowerment video where I give you tips, tricks, and teach you some certain mindsets that you can use for your journey as you start off from zero along your creative journey, or if you're trying to continue to move forward or anything like that. These are some ideas and some things that can help you along on your purpose, on your path, right? So the title of this video is, I don't like what I do. Let's give you some background. So a lot of people show me what they do. You know, they hear what I do and they say, oh man, can you check it out? And I listen to it, and then the first thing that they do is they kind of downplay it. They kind of say, well, it's cool, but it's not great. It's not this and not that. And while it does turn me off sometimes for someone to say, yo, you got to check this out, it's the dopest thing you ever hear, it'll change your life. I get that, but that touches me. But then on the other side of that spectrum is, yo, I want you to hear this beat. I want you to check out these lyrics. I want you to see this picture. And it's okay. I don't think it's that great, And I'm like, well, you should start putting this out there. You should really start sharing this, or you should start selling it. Well, it's cool, but it's not quite, And what happens is that it keeps you in this mental safe zone. It keeps you in this mental safe area where there's no really accountability towards anything. You take away the accountability yourself to actually follow through and put something out. And then you also take away the accountability of keeping the perspective that you need to have for yourself in check. And I understand that, pretty much, everybody's at home and that there's a lot of different places we can put our music out, or pictures or content or song lyrics or whatever. And we know that there's a lot of people that say a lot of negative things, and then oftentimes that's what people do during the day. Is it's easier for them to kind of say something negative, and a lot of times when people try to say something negative, they are doing it to make themselves feel better, because a lot of people don't like themselves. A lot of people have issues with themselves. They think they are failures. And I understand that. I've dealt with a little bit of that emotion myself, where it's like things aren't the way I think they should be. Therefore, I don't like what I've done already, even though I have done a lot of great things. And that can be a limiting core belief that prevents you from pushing forward in your adventures, from trying things again. So we got to take a time and try to take apart, where does this come from? Where does it come from that you don't like what you do? You don't like it because it doesn't look like something more further down the line, what they do? Or I don't like that, I think it's not good because someone in my family might have said something that I didn't like, or maybe they're not very vocal at all. Or maybe you share it on social media, and a lot of people that you know in real life don't even take time to comment or even interact or engage with what you're doing. And in the back of your mind, you're taking inventory of all these different things, and it's bringing the net value of your creative juices and what you're trying to do. It brings it down, and that is a mistake. And the truth is that you can change that. You can prevent that from happening, but you have to learn how to like things on your own without the accolades of others. It's almost like you have to ignore it, because if you get too addicted or too focused on the compliments, if you get too focused on the accolades, what happens when they go away? Because if you keep creating content, you're going to get some accolades, you're going to get some props and stuff like that. But I try not to get too attached to it, and I take it with a grain of salt, because it's very easy for people to say something nice, but it takes longer to find out if those things that they're saying are genuine. And that's okay too. But what I've learned is that, because you still got to live, you still got to function, and I think you should still live your life currently where you're at, and find ways to be happy where you're at, and not necessarily just kind of be happy and not still want to pursue things, but learn to be happy. If someone who hasn't checked for you a long time wants to say hello, and they don't check for you in years or something like that, listen, you have to learn how to take that with grace and keep it moving. As easily as they come, as easily as they go. Same thing with people in life. Maybe you have a family member and they're saying negative things about you, or they're always kind of saying jokes but you know what? You could turn that to your advantage, because that can be a mental strengthening tool instead of a mental damaging tool. You could turn it around, because if you master the negative things people close to you saying, if you master your emotions around the negative things that people close to you say that actually matter, just imagine how much tougher you'll be hearing negative things from people that don't truly matter. So you may not have had a background or a practice of liking your stuff, or you may have had a background of people not saying anything at all. Hello. Or people not showing interest in it, or people saying negative stuff. And what you have to do is turn around that narrative. You have to create this new embodiment of liking what you do. You have to appreciate it. You have to appreciate that you're actually doing something for a change, instead of tripping over what you're doing and worry about it being wrong. And honestly, if you're not comfortable with sharing it with other people, then you have to learn to identify those that will listen to what you have to offer, and then be cool with taking their criticism for it. But if you're not there at that point, there's really a lot more work that has to be done inside before you create, before you write, before you really have to work on some things. One of the tools I use to increase my mindset and increase my mood is exercise. Do you know, like, exercise can be a great tool to kind of elevate your mood? And it's surprising. And the thing is, if you haven't worked out in a long time, you forget that. You forget that exercise boosts your energy. It boosts your self-esteem, self-awareness. You feel a little sexier. You feel a little bit more strong. You feel like you're more in the moment because you just achieved a workout, and that you made a decision to do something that a lot of people won't do. You may be jogging, and then you see someone on the side, and you don't know what they're going through, but you see certain people sitting on the side, and if you go to certain places, you see those same people sitting there all the time for years, and you're like, what are they doing? You know? And it makes you appreciate that, hey, I'm doing something about this. I care about myself enough to put myself through this. It may seem extreme to someone else, but it's not for them. It's for you. Same thing with creating content, putting content on a beat store, or taking an Instagram, or taking a selfie. You know, get your phone, take you a selfie for you. And the fun thing is that as you do it, people who like what you do will find it and will like it, but they'll never get that chance to find you if you're so backed up mentally from the crap that's been said in your past, and also life experiences, which I know firsthand how life experiences can make you devalue yourself. I know firsthand how life experiences can make you feel like, okay, dang, this happened to me, so it must not even be worth it. I know that, to the point to where you don't even want to create anymore. Corey's like, well, shoot, I guess life is over with because this happened, because that happened. And the truth is that it's okay to feel that, because I think you got to feel that and then process it and then try something else, and you'll know. There's no map for that, and I wish I could give you quantifiable information. It's like, okay, on this day this happens. I can't do that, but what I can say is that your mind is constantly adapting and changing, and by the constant renewing of your mind, you can rewrite the programming negative and the narrative. You know, so and I've been studying David Goggins, DavidGoggin, and the interesting thing about his story when he was young was that he would kind of do things to cover up how he really felt. The more extreme he lived as a young person, and the more extreme he did his looks or whatever, stuff like that, was him finding a way to cope with the negative situation that he was in. And oftentimes we do things that are self-detrimental to ourselves to allow ourselves to cope with the negative situation. It's almost like, if I don't say anything good about myself and I don't have confidence about what I do, then I won't be disappointed by the results that I have in my life. And the good news is that you don't have to stay thinking that way. And it's very important for you to learn to like what you do. And if you don't like what you do, then you really need to keep practicing at it. If you don't like the pictures you take, keep taking pictures. Learn about light. Get it with different photographers that are willing to help you. If you don't like the songs that you write, then get with someone that is willing, that has the time to help you, or hire someone to help you. Hire coaching and stuff like that, if that's what you really want to do. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're able to make that investment in coaching, I say do it. And if you're not able to make that investment, take time to save up if you can. But in the meantime, while you don't have everything in a row to create, do something with it, because a year or two is going to go by and you're going to wonder where the time went. And it doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take you altering your whole life to get started. It doesn't take your whole life to make little changes that can accumulate day by day. For example, today I went running today for exercise. I'm on my weight loss journey trying to, you know what I'm saying, sharpen up. And I had to push today. I had a 20-minute running interval. Now, I didn't start there. I started off walking and running, like 1 to 1.5 minutes running and walking. Now I'm at 20 minutes of straight jogging and running. I'm almost at 3 miles. I ran 2 miles, 2.12 miles. And the thing that got me to this point was that, one, I did run 3 miles before and I stopped, and that was my mistake. But I knew I did it before. And on top of that, it wasn't as hard to try again as it was the first time. So as you keep trying again, you start to build up certain strengths in the things that you're trying to do. You start to learn to build confidence. Confidence is something that if you don't have, can be built. But you have to be the one that builds it. Even I'm still building on it. But one thing I've learned to do is to put my head down and to keep making content. You know, I can watch all the YouTube tips and use all the tube buddies and all that stuff and still wonder what happened. But after you study everything, you just got to go do it and put your head down. And I hate, and I'm all about keep your head up, but sometimes you just got to put your head down and grind. Sometimes you just got to hit record and make that content. Sometimes you just got to turn on that equipment and make that beat. You know, and also, yeah, the numbers may not look like, you know, everybody who has big numbers. It may not look like that. But wow, I've met some cool people along the way. There are some people who are seeing what I'm doing. That should not be taken for granted. So I'm just going to grind. I'm just going to keep making content. I don't have any tricks. And I can always study and add more. And it's always cool to study and get your information on. But in your study phase, don't get so caught up in the dopamine high of being in the study phase that you don't do it. Watch out for trying to seeing cool things and getting around people saying, oh yeah, I want to do this. I get it. But if you can't successfully follow through on one thing, try not to be focused on all these other things. Yeah, you can get to it, but just try to focus on one thing and let that victory push you forward to the next thing. So liking what you do, if is a developed skill. If you don't have it, you can develop it and you can keep on developing it. And as you do that, now you have something to look back on and say, oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I did this. And it's cool. So that's been another independent artist empowerment video. I'm Dillio. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below and give me your feedback, because I want to hear from you and see what you think about this and what are some ways that tools and things that you're doing and all that good stuff. All right. So I'll see y'all later in the next video. Peace out.
Dillio on the track.